All right, let's go through the actual description for the project here. So what we are going to see in your document, the purpose, create an infographic related to one topic that we've covered or is related to this course. Infographic should present some good, quick information about the topic in a fun and easy to read way. So think about this as what would make a good lesson for that topic. And I'll show you some good examples and bad examples in just a minute here. That'll show that. Groups, you're allowed to work in groups of up to 4 if you choose to. If you are going to work in a group, it'd be good to tell me that ahead of time. But you can be individual, you can be in a pair, you can be a group of 3 or a group of 4. Okay, so the requirements here. So you need to pick a topic. This is always the most difficult thing for people to do, is picking a topic. But your topic can be anything related to the course. I am listing a bunch of topics here. We want you to be creative. So if you pick one of these topics here, that's not showing a lot of creativity. But these are the most common ones I could think of. These are basically all the topics from the course. If you want to pick something else that's kind of related to the course but is often kind of in your own direction, that is great as well. So try to be as original and creative as you can think to be. Alright, so obviously if I get half the class does safety devices, anyone who does safety devices is going to get less creativity marks than someone who does not do that. For the content itself, you must present your project in the form of an infographic. So you should be familiar now after watching this video how to do an infographic. It must contain a minimum number of pieces of researched information. So when I say researched information, that is actual valid pieces of information. So I like the color blue is not a valid piece of information. Saying something that is for example, a light curtain is a barrier protecting device, that would be a valid piece of researched information. Okay, so difference there. So we want to have 5 pieces of information if you are working as an individual, and it basically goes up by 3 for each person you add to your group. So if you're adding people to your group, you're responsible for more content, basically. So that is the required number of pieces there. It must contain graphics and pictures to go along with this information, so it can't just be text. I want to see graphics and pictures all working together. That's what makes it an infographic. Please be aware that, I'll give an example here, pulling images off of the internet, you need to be careful how you do that. It is always easier to just use pictures from Creative Commons sources, but if you do want to use copyrighted images, there are rules to follow for that. You can look at the what they describe here under the copyrighted images section on Visme, or if you want to look at the example I have below of a proper way to do that. And then also your project should be creative and it should look good as well. Alright, so how to develop and submit. You're going to use the free online software to develop your infographic. There's several sites that will do this. I think the easiest one to use is Visme. There's lots of templates there. You can create a really good project pretty easily. This will generate a JPEG file for you in the end, and you submit that JPEG file. Include all the names of group members with your submission. And if you are submitting as a group, you only need to submit one file. So you submit that file, tell me who's in your group, and I will make sure that everyone in your group receives the same mark for that. So how is it going to be marked? There's 15 points total, so this project is worth 15 points. The information itself is worth 10 points. So did you provide the minimum required amount of information? That is worth 5 points. And what is the quality of that information? That is also worth 5 points total. The creativity. The concept had some originality to it. That will be 0, 1, or 2 points. And the quality and appearance of the project overall. how good does it look? That is going to be a 0, 1, 2, or 3. Okay, I will give you until the very end of the term to submit this. So December 18th, that is the last day, that is the day of your exam. So this is the very last day of classes. You can have up until then to submit this. Okay, and just a final note here, how to add an image from a website to an assignment. So it is acceptable to use images from the internet in your work for educational purposes. They will allow you to do this if they are properly cited. So that's the important thing here. So if you're going to use an image, you want to include the full URL of the website where the image was found, and also put in the date that you visited that website. So an example here. So here is an image that I pulled off of a website. I described what it was. This is an ABB Yumi robot. This is the website where it came from, and I visited this on November 28th. So if somebody wanted to follow this up and go see where this image actually came from, they could actually go there on this. They could actually go right to that website and see that same image, and this gives you an idea of when that was last there. So if you saw this date was from 10 years ago, it's possible that image is not there anymore, but at least you know that was done recently. Okay, so that is how to, if you want to use website images in your project, this would be how you should be referencing them. Okay, so let's look at some examples. So that is the description. This project has been done very, very well in previous years. I've been very happy with the results from this. People have done a really good job with this. So I'm going to give you some examples here of projects from previous years and kind of how they're scored to give you an idea. So this first one here that we'll use, get a red pen here. So this is an example of bad, okay? So what is not good about this? So first of all, what they're doing here, you can't even really tell because there's no title on it, but this is basically talking about the history of robots. So first of all, this is not an infographic. This looks like it was done in Word, and it's just a bunch of text boxes and some pictures. So right there, the whole look of this and everything, this might be a 1 out of 3 for the look, for how it looks. The creativity of it, History of Robots was a pretty common one for people to do. I might have given them a 1 out of 2 creativity. And then actually looking at the content, do they have 5 pieces? This is a single person submission. So do they have 5 pieces of information? Yes, obviously there's 5 pieces of information here. So this was actually a 5 out of 5 for we'll call that quantity. And the quality of the information, it's okay. I mean, yeah, I might have given them like a, it's hard to knock it. There's quite a bit here, so we'll call that the quality. So altogether, this is like 11 out of 15. So even as a bad example here, this is still an 11 out of 15. So the marks on these are actually pretty high. It's hard to do poorly, but this is not a good project. Okay, I'm hoping for more out of this. Here's another example of bad. So this is an infographic. They've got a title that says lockout, tagout. They've got 5 pieces of information. They've got a description for each one. So quantity and quality, maybe that's like, once again, that might be a 9 out of 10. They've got 5. I'd probably give them a 3 or a 4. So that might be an 8 or 9 out of 10 for that. Creativity was, a lot of people did lockout. So I might have given them a 1 out of 2 for the creativity. And just the overall look of it, this might have gotten a 1 or a 0. Maybe a 1 out of 3 for that. So once again, this is maybe a 10 or 11 out of 15. So these are kind of these are on the low end here. These are poorly done. So then this is the one that I just made. So how would I rate this? So overall, this just looks awful. This is terrible. This looks awful. But now this took me what, like 20 minutes to do. So I'd say this looks like I'm gonna give this a 1 out of 3 for looks. Content, I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna count this flowchart as a 4th thing. So content and quality, maybe that's like a 7 or 8 out of 10 for that. And creativity, it's not even related to the course, but let's say this. Nobody else did this, so let's call that a 3 out of 3 for creativity. Now this is totally off topic, so it's hard to score what the creativity would be, but for looks, this doesn't look good. Okay, so that's a bad looking one. And the information was not very good either. So that's kind of what we're looking at there for the one that I made. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea. You should do better than this. Now we get into the good ones. So there was a lot of people that did really well at this. So here is a really good one. So I think this one altogether, this is a 15 out of 15. So let's look at this one close up. So they did robot manufacturers. This is a single person that did this as well. So they gave the top 10 brands of robot manufacturers. They did their annual sales, and they did a little bit of information about each manufacturer. Okay, which is something we're going to cover in this course later on. They gave sources. There's all their sources listed there. But this is really good. This looks like something that I would want to copy and put in the notes for this course, right? And this is kind of the whole idea. This is a nice single point lesson for how to cover this topic. And this is basically what we're trying to do here with an infographic, is give you a really good sense in something nice and visual, it looks nice, of what this topic is about and you can actually learn from this, right? So this is a great one. This is 15 out of 15. And then this one here, this might be my favorite one from this group. Again, this was another 15 out of 15. This one was just excellent. This was three people working together on this, so they had to get, let's see, that needed 11 pieces of information. Which they had a ton of information in here, but they basically did all the different ways to use math in industrial robots, talking about the different coordinate systems. And we actually talk about this in this course, but going through Cartesian, cylindrical, spherical, Scara, articulated, and delta robots, and how they calculate different things. So this is excellent. Like, this is better than the notes that I use. Okay, like, I should be copying this and putting it into our course notes. This is so good. And then just the visual of this is really good. And again, they're just taking this from a template from, I think this is from Visme. They're just using a template in Visme and adding some images. You can see down here, this is their references of where everything came from. They're just adding some images and some text and using one of the standard templates from Visme and creating something that looks just fantastic. So this is what I would like to see for projects for this. So excellent work here for 3 people, and yeah, this is a great project. So this is the kind of things that I'd like to see. So that is a couple of examples of bad, kind of medium, and really, really good. Okay, and there has been a lot of people that have done really quality work here. They're getting full marks for their work because their projects look great. It's not difficult to make something that looks great if you stick with the templates and just put in your own thoughts and content to these. You can do a really good job. So good luck with this, and I'm excited to see what people come back with for their projects. Okay, so we'll see ya.